In this video, we're going to take a look at inserting and editing pictures in PowerPoint 2016. I've got just a simple blank slideshow here with one slide and nothing on it. And what we're going to do is we are going to add a new slide, and we're going to do we'll do title and content. Okay, and there's a couple ways to get pictures into your documents. You can go up here to the Insert tab, and there's pictures and online pictures. So these would be local, these would be out on the internet someplace. And you can also do screenshots and create a photo album. We're just going to look at inserting pictures from your computer right now. So let's click on this, and we should get a dialog box, and it goes to my pictures folder. And I've got a folder here called samples that has one sample in it, and we will go ahead and we'll insert that picture into our document. Okay, so when you have the picture selected, as I do with the handles around it right now, we get our picture tools, and all of our picture tools are basically on one long ribbon here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this a little bit, and I'm going to grab it by the corners so I don't distort anything. And we're going to start at the left here and work our way through part of these, and then we'll do another video for the rest of them. So the first thing over here is remove background, and if you click on that, PowerPoint tries to figure out what is your background, and it colors it all purple. And so if I just want to have the penguins, it's pretty much eliminated everything for me except for this sky over here. And we're going to go up here, we're going to click on Mark Areas to Remove, and this works best if you draw long lines, and there we go. If you draw long lines from, one edge to the other, and we've got rid of all that stuff now. But actually all I wanted to get rid of was the sky background, so I'm going to discard all the changes, and I'm going to start from scratch now. And I'm going to go to Remove Background, and I'm going to mark areas to keep. Okay, and I want to keep all of this stuff down here, and all of this stuff down here. And it's looking for similar colors now when you do that. And let's try this, and I think we might have, that went too far. Okay, so now let's mark some more areas to remove. Let's go from here to here and see what we can get. And let's try going from here to here and see what we can get. And so, okay, so we got rid of the sky. We got penguins standing on solid snow here. And we're going to actually, we could keep them, but I'd rather have everything visible here so you can see the full rectangle and some of the other stuff we're going to do. So we're just going to discard the changes, but if you want to keep them, all you have to do is click on the green check mark. So we will discard the changes, and we'll move on to the next item here. We've got corrections. This is mostly for contrast and brightness, and so you can, and this goes in increments of 10% or 20% actually. So this is your original picture, and then you can decrease the contrast going up, or you can increase the contrast going down. You can increase the brightness going to the right and decrease the brightness going to the left. So if your pictures are off by a little bit, sometimes you can just make them look a little better by increasing the brightness or the contrast, or decreasing the brightness or the contrast. And actually, I think I like the way this one is the original, and I like the way this one makes the sky a little bit bluer, so I'm going to pick that one. And then we got some options for color here, and basically these are just a bunch of tinting options, and we should get a live preview here if we pause the mouse over it. And we got a bunch of recolor options down here. And most of these on the bottom two rows, they just change the tint of it a little bit, so it's not the actual colors. The colors get changed to a tint. There's some other options here, but we're not going to take a look at those. So if you want to modify the color component of your picture, that's one option. Then we've got artistic effects on the next button here, and if you pause the mouse over each one, it will give you a name. So it applies some algorithm that it applies to the entire picture. So this one tries to make it look like a pencil drawing. This one tries to make it look like a pencil sketch. I'm not sure what the difference is. We've got one here that makes it look like a line drawing, and then we can blur, make it look like glass. Got a bunch of options here, and they all do some funny stuff to your picture. So you can pick any one of those. We've got an option for transparency here, and you can make your picture more and more transparent. So if there's stuff in the background, you can have more and more of that stuff show through by changing the transparency. And if you don't like the preset, you can always click down here and go to the options. The compressed pictures option up here will take the picture. For example, if you've resized the pictures and made them smaller than they were originally so they'd fit on your slide the way that you wanted them to, then the original pixels are still there from the original picture, and you'll end up with a file that is as big as the original picture. It's not a big deal with just a couple of pictures. If you've got quite a few pictures out here, though, it can make your file significantly bigger. So if you want to compress all of your pictures, now you'll lose the pixels. You won't be able to make them look as big if you try to, or look as good if you try to make them bigger again. But if you want to make a significant decrease in the size of your PowerPoint file, this is one thing to try. Especially it will decrease the download time. And the more pictures and the more big pictures you have in here, the more of a difference this will make. You've got the option to change the picture if you want to, and if you've made a bunch of changes and you don't like the changes, you can reset it and go back to the original. We've got a bunch of predefined picture styles up here, and what they do is most of them look like they just kind of mess with the border. Well, they add some shadows and they round some corners, I guess, too. So we've got a blur effect, and then we've got some more borders. And let me just back up a little bit here so you can see the whole thing. So this one puts a shadow underneath it, but the shadow is actually off of the slide if I drag this up a little bit. And now let's try that one. And now you can see the shadow. And there's a more button here, which will let you see a bunch of other predefined picture styles. So if you like these, go ahead and pick one. And PowerPoint has done a lot of the work for you. Okay, we're going to skip a few things here now, just to keep this video short. And the other thing I want to look at before we quit is we can go over here, we can change the height and the width. Now let me get back. So this is a rectangular picture again, and I'll drag it down a little bit as well. And if I increase the height or the width, the other dimension is correspondingly changed so that we don't distort the picture. If you ever do want to distort the picture, click on this dialog box launcher here. It'll bring up your dialog box for formatting a picture. And if you turn off lock aspect ratio, now if I want to take it and drag it in from the left, I can get tall skinny penguins because it does not change the height to correspond to the width. I'm going to undo that with Control Z, and now they're back in the original proportion. So if you ever want to change the scale, that's probably something you'd be more likely to do with some kind of clip art instead of an actual photograph, but that's how you go ahead and do it. And that takes care of about half of the picture tools, and we'll take a look at some of the other picture tools in another video.